Hello, today I want to go over just the basic wiring functionality of the AL14 series masters. From the get-go, the best place to start, just real quick, going to be powering up the master. So let's take a look at that here. So our voltage supply in with our L-coated cable here. We're going to have for our, it's called out as a US supply, or the supply for the master itself is going to be pin 1 and pin 3. Additionally, we're going to be bringing in to fire our auxiliary outputs, pin 4, our auxiliary supply, and pin 2 is going to be our 0 volts for that. We also have our functional earth here as pin 5. Now, the main questions in regards to the ports is in regards to the Class B ports. So real quick, just to give us a rundown of it, the Class A ports here, they're all being supplied by the US supply from the master. Pin 1, pin 3, you're bringing in a digital input. Here, pin 4 is typically IO-Link. It can be a digital input. You could also have it be a digital output. At that point, that digital output, though, is being supplied by the US supply. It is not being supplied by the auxiliary. The only ports that fire from the auxiliary supply are going to be found up here, X1 through X4 on the master. By default, these ports are initially set up as Class A ports, so we don't run into issues of someone putting on a port only sensor and accidentally damaging a sensor. So real quick, to go over that, just like we saw down here, 1 and 3 are going to be our US supply. If we have this port, we change this from a Class A to a Class B port. That does not get you outputs. That mainly what that is doing is just simply giving you auxiliary power across pin 2 and pin 5 constantly. And at the same time, you can bring in IO-Link data across pin 4. What a lot of people are looking to do more often than not is the third mode. And the third mode for these ports is going to be the output mode. When we set this up for output mode, pin 2 is a digital output as is listed here, and that is referencing the auxiliary supply. And pin 4, as we saw down here, is referencing the US supply to fire the pin 4 output. So sounds pretty straightforward, but let's go over a quick note just to see what that means. What that means is that pin 2, because it's referencing the auxiliary, you can fire across pin 2 on ports 1 through 4. You can fire each port up to 2 amps, and it is the factory setting. And if you fire 2 amps across all 4 ports, that is possible. 8 amps in total across all 4 is the max. Pin 4, because it's referencing the US supply though, while it can fire up to 2 amps, we have to keep in mind that it is pulling from the US supply, which is limited to this 3.6 amps. So if we fire 2.2 amps across pin 4, then we're only left with 1.6 amps to power or fire anything across the whole master at that point. And these two things are what are often overlooked when doing a setup, when evaluating current consumption and projects. So these are the two most important things to keep in mind in regards to wiring and using an AL14 series. So that is the overview for wiring, and hopefully that gets you where you need to go. If you do have further questions, feel free to give a shout, and we will also be taking a look at a setup in a PLC um, shortly in another video. Thank you, and have a good day.